What happened to your lip?
I just bit it on my way home, so that's always nice on the day of filming to just bite your lip.
Today with us we have Nick Ponzio, Olympian, World Championships finalist, World Indoor finalist, almost got a medal at European Championships. One of the best throwers here at USC and one of the best characters of track and field. So check it out, guys, our podcast with Nick Ponzio. Nick, we got, we talked a little bit beforehand, but man, you're an amazing guy. We have so many questions. We talked about how entertainment, this is, sport is entertainment, and people love the things you do, the things you say, and you seem to be always like that, even in the college. First of all, how did you get in track and field? Like, how did you get
Yeah. So for me, I've always been a bigger guy. You know this. I always say I refer to it as vertically challenged. So I'm not necessarily the tallest guy. So for me, I've always been quite stocky though. So for me, I always played football, and I played at a really high level for a long time. And I also played baseball. I played pretty much every sport you could think of. I played. My parents were just so good about that. But in high school, I just had a friend who was on the football team who was like, "Hey man, I do this in the off season, and if you want to still be able to be big, lift big weights, and kind of get out of doing summer conditioning for football, you should come out and do this." And so I was like, all right, I'll just give it a go. And like immediately just was like, wow, I feel like this is like really fun. And I feel really, I don't know, I had like this inclination for, like, I was just really, really drawn to it. And then, because I started at 17, so I started as a junior in high school. And so I was kind of doing
late, yeah.
like super late in my high school career. So I never really thought it would amount to anything, but with how drawn I was to it, I just kind of really pursued it really hard. And, as cliche as it sounds, I've always been one to try to be the hardest worker in the room. So I worked, just as hard as I've ever worked at anything in my life in it. And one of the things that I would say for me that I loved so much about it, that drew me to it, especially, was the fact that being a guy who was in so many team sports for so long, you kind of get washed out no matter how hard you work in team sports, because it's about the team. And one thing I really loved was the individual aspect of it. Track and field, technically, when you're in college and stuff, is a team sport, but I love the individuality of it. The fact that I could work hard and get so much out of it. So when I started doing that, I was like, wow, this is just something that I really wanted to pursue. And was fortunate enough, worked so hard. My last year in high school was the top thrower in the country going into college. And, from there, just was able to really take it. And now I'm, fortunate enough to be a professional and an Olympian and everything like that, which is amazing. So it was very, very small steps in the beginning, like humble beginnings and everything like that. But man, has it been such a ride? I'll tell you what.
I forget how late you started. I remember, what was your last high school year? 2013?
Yeah, so 2012 is when I
70 feet.
started,
You
but
70 feet.
2013 was my senior year, and that year I threw 21-23, which is like 69 feet, 7 and a quarter inch or something like that for the Americans. And that year was, like I said, the top mark in the country, which was like, it honestly, like it's so funny. I have a newspaper clipping of the face I made when I threw it, because I was just like, what does that even mean? Is that amazing? And somebody was like, dude, like, that's out of control. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was like a 7-foot PR. Like, it was something absurd like that. It just kind of totally threw me for a loop, and really kind of started that tidal wave into being, a multiple time All-American. And then now, like I said, what I've done in the professional ranks and stuff. So it's really, really cool. It like I said, the small beginnings it had, but the, I don't know, the conversion from having those thoughts of being like, hey, the harder I work at this, the better I can be, really turned into it being like, it all kind of came to fruition with it, because as a professional, that's exactly how it goes. A lot of the time you're training alone. You don't always have training partners, and you really have to take that work ethic and everything that you've always kind of had within you and use that to your advantage. So it's been pretty crazy up until this point.
No, I think, like you say, it's cliche, but I think you're a good example of how, not being what it takes, looking like what it takes, right? You said, right?
Yeah.
6'8", right? Like, you're all these big guys, and then you have you coming, right? Every year.
Yeah.
This is your fourth or fifth year after college.
Yeah, it's like about my fifth year.
I mean, what a season you had too! Like, competing the best, the worst time to be a shot putter, you are among the best. Yeah, you had a great season.
Yeah, Yeah, it's funny. I appreciate it so much more, but it's funny because I don't really look at it as the worst time to be a shot putter. There are a lot of people that say that, like, man, I came into it at the worst time because of how good
Yeah,
guys are. And
75. Everybody's throwing 70 feet, right? Everybody's throwing
yeah,
70 feet.
it's tremendous. But the way that I look at it personally is I look at it like, I find that if I came into shot put at a time where, if you won a world championship with like 2150 or so, I probably wouldn't be working to a level that I am now, because now I know, hey, that I've got to personally, and whoever it has to do, you're gonna have to work to a level that you don't even believe you can even work to. Like, you could, because the level that you have to get to is a level that has never been done, because these guys are breaking world records and breaking American records and everything else. And every other country's records being broken now, because everybody's trying to get to or trying to surpass Ryan or Joe or Tom or any of these Darlon. I mean, heck, even Philip, like all these guys who are at the top of their game. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to slight my good buddy Josh Owatunde too. I mean, they're at the top of their game now. These guys,
all these guys, yeah.
yeah. If you're not a 22 to 2250 guy, don't even think you're going to even get a medal at these meets now. And like, how absurd is that to say? Because for so long you could win with. I mean, like, I was looking at this the other day.
Will be a win. 2170 will be a win. 21 always.
Yeah. Like, literally, I remember in 2020 my PB of 2172. I looked at like the last 50 years or something like that of world championships and Olympics, and I would have won like 48 of the years. Like, I literally would have won so many of the years. So it's crazy that it's gotten to a point that where it's at. But for me, I look at it like, well, now I can rise to a level that maybe I would have never been able to get to, even if I think that I'm working so hard. Yeah, like, I don't even know if I could have even gotten to that point if I wasn't striving to have to beat Ryan and Joe and all these other guys. And heck, even in my own country, Leonardo Fabris on 2199 and Zane Weir both on 2199. It's like it's taking now a level that some countries in the world as a whole has never seen. And I in my opinion, that makes it really special more than it is a negative thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's from us looking from as a fans, as coaches, as former athletes, we're looking at this as like, this is historic. Like, I went to World Championships this year or 2 years ago, Olympics. Like, this is special. This never happened, and all of these guys are beasts. I mean, this is amazing. The level you guys have gone to, and like I say, you over time, you're like, okay, I guess I got to go up one step. I got one more up, right? Like, where's you don't know, right? Look at
and it's so true. And for me, and for me, I've been so fortunate that I've done well when I needed to, and I've been, more than anybody in the world, I am definitely the traveler of the shot putters. I'm the journeyman, and so for me, I have luckily gotten to a point now where my world rank is so high because I did this past year 40 competitions, which is like, I think, a world record. And so it's gotten to a point where, the season was so good, but I think it's more of just the culmination of doing so much and just trying to really get my name out there. And it's like, showing up week in and week out. And that, more than anything, is being a consummate professional, being able to show up when you have to at Diamond Leagues, going to the Diamond League final, being the finalist at indoor and outdoor worlds, and Europeans just missing out on a medal and everything like that. It's in my eyes, when I look at it, because I had mentioned this before we started the podcast, to you, I feel like I just missed out. But when I really sit down and think about the entirety of the year, I think about how important these steps were to getting to where I want to be in my career. I think with where I'm going right now, there's a lot of really special things moving forward. So no matter how these years end, I'm looking at it like, well, where I'm supposed to be. And I've been talking a lot about this with a lot of people in my corner. I've been kind of living behind this thing of finding my destiny in the sport. And so for me, with where I'm going, I know I'm on the right path to finding where I'm meant to be. And I think that's more special than anything, because I'm looking at it each and every day like, I don't have to have everything right now. I know at some point it's going to come if I just keep doing what I need to do. And that I think has propelled me to where I'm at as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing great things for the sport. And when we posted these questions, we got so many questions. You got a lot of fans, a lot of great fans. And I think the way you present yourself, you're entertainer. You're entertainer, you're an athlete. But I love that you are entertaining the audience in a way like, oh, I got so much fun doing this sport. You guys should check
Yeah.
out this sport, right?
Yeah.
People like you and like Usain Bolt, right? You could have gone into block, boom, win, that's it, right? No,
Yeah.
but he was an entertainer. He will go, to the audience, dance.
Mm-hmm.
This sport needs people like you guys.
Yeah.
We need it in terms of now. Even Bunny's getting better. It's never going to be like football or soccer, but it opens opportunities. I mean, how many friends you have around the world right now, right? What kind of?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I've met so many people around the world and gone to more countries than I probably ever thought I'd ever do in my life, and got to compete on the biggest stages and everything like that. And for me, the entertainer side is just as much as it is definitely me trying to bring more attention and put butts in seats and trying to get more people to want to watch track and field. It's just who I am. Like, I've just always kind of been a goofball. I've always been kind of the class clown my whole life. And I think this is really me just kind of coming out of my shell and just being like, hey, this is just, as much as you guys like to watch all of us big guys throw these rocks really far, it's also good to have some entertainment behind it, to watch somebody, kind of give everything they have and also have a fun time doing it. So it's definitely been a good time to be able to be seen as the class clown now of the shot put world too.
I'll say entertainer, right?
Yeah.
Clown, entertainer. I love your interview about the World Championships. I posted that.
That was that.
These things are not scripted. You just keep coming out of
there. And that's what I mean. It's like every time I get, my mother has always said that there's something about a camera. Like once a camera gets put on me, it's like I just come out and I just am always trying to be the center of attention, always trying to put on a show. And I think once, especially at Worlds, because I was having such a fun time at Worlds because I felt so good and felt like I was going to really, really do something special. At that time, it was just kind of like, let me razzle dazzle. I think it was Citius Mag was that one, but also World Athletics. And I think entertainers are a good one, but I think World Athletics titled me the showman, I think is what they called me now. So I'll take that, I guess. I'll run with that one.
No, you are definitely a showman. And I remember you in college too, you were a showman. So talking about college, obviously USC has such a great history of throwers. Four Olympic champions.
Fight on, baby. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
most shot put Olympic champions of any school.
Exactly.
What did you like about USC when you were a student here?
Yeah, so I actually originally went to the University of Florida first, and I worked under Steve Lemke, and who, every time I see Steve, it's always really cordial and stuff. It just ended up being a situation that I just felt on my own was not best for me. And luckily, I kind of went through kind of a rocky sort of transfer process there, but Florida did such a good job of allowing me to be released and everything, and I got a hold of Dan because USC was always a place that I wanted to go. It was kind of not so much a dream school growing up because my mom went to UCLA, and it was kind of one of those things where when I was growing up, it was never really a big college household. Like we are big like pro sports fans in my household, so it was never like college was never really at like the forefront of my mind in the sense of where I wanted to go or a dream school or anything like that. But USC was always a place that I really liked, and so it took me a long time to get a hold of my coach, who was Dan Lang, but it ended up working out. I ended up getting transferring there and being, like I said, being a multiple time All-American, which was amazing. But the biggest thing I loved about USC, outside of any of the athletic accolades or anything I did was, it was, and we had discussed this briefly, was that Trojan family aspect of it. It was that fact that, like, I could be graduated from USC 30 years down the road and I'll still get calls like, hey, what's the Alumni Association? We're trying to figure out like how you're doing, what's going on in your life. And like and also just, not on top of the Alumni Association, also the boosters and everybody like that. They were so involved and so interested in what we were doing, and always wanted to see us, get to the best performances that we could get to and get to the best levels that we could be at. And, Mr. Kolich, John Kolich, who was always a huge proponent of the throwers and everything at USC and still is. still, talks to me to this day and everything like that. And so it's that feeling of being a part of something greater than myself and being a part of this really tight knit family that I love so much about USC. And that is something, when they talk about fight on forever, that is something that is truly, truly a big part of my life, and something that I'll always have. And it's something that you can't have unless you are a part of that Trojan family. So for me, that was always my favorite part, and still to this day is my favorite part.
No, I can see in you that, fighting on, because you're through everything that you're going through, you're still training hard, you're still fighting on.
Yeah.
You're right about the culture here. I'm here for 6 weeks, but from the day one, I felt so welcomed. My whole family felt so welcomed. People were so happy, asking about, okay, where are you coming from? Or how do you like it? What do you need? Right? It's really family. And you have
It
this
is.
coming. I was at the football game. This guy goes, yeah, I haven't missed a game in 50 years. I haven't missed a season in 50 years. COVID was so hard for me because this is my family thing.
Yeah.
Really, and if you go around LA, if you have a SC hat on, you'll hear it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you're in LA and they know you're either working for USC, you go to USC, or you're an alumni of USC, you're like a big deal to them, no matter what you did. We could have a badminton team at USC and they would still absolutely be like, hey, let's get this guy a free meal or something. They love it. They love former athletes and everything like that. So yeah, it's huge, and I'm really, really a big fan of what they're doing and what they're continually doing at that school.
Yeah, no, you're right. I know. I talked to a lot of great throwers in this podcast. And some schools do a better job than others. All right, and I know one school in particular. One of the throwers, he's like, "I'm never going to donate to my school. They never call me." You say it's simple as like, "Hey, how you doing? Right? How's doing well?" Here, there's a stats about everybody who was since 1947. Russ, he does the stats. He does stats about everybody.
Yeah, I remember
from 47. I mean, that's a long time.
Like, I'll tell you what, anytime we had the Trojan Invitational or the Power 5 Challenge or anything we did at USC while I was there, the informative books that they would give like to the fans and stuff, I would look through those sometimes, and they had stats, like you said, like back all the way to like the beginning of the track and field team at USC. It was always crazy to me to see like stats year by year, and they had it like to the T. It was always down to the inch, the centimeter, the second, the millisecond. It was always like it was wild to me that they still had those statistics.
Yeah. No, it's special, a special feeling. Every sport has very, very good.
And and that's the funny thing, and you had mentioned that, and I have been to a lot of schools now. I now train at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and for me, I've been to a lot of schools, and it's just not the same. Like USC truly has something special, and I know that if somebody has not been a part of the USC program or went to school there or anything like that, I just encourage anybody, if you're in that California, LA area, just to go walk around campus, like especially during a game day or something like that. It's a really, really special thing. And to me, I have never found anything on a lot of different college campuses that even relates to that. But it to me is what makes USC so special, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we talked about with coaches here, alumni, what's going to be special for us is seeing alumni 2028 Olympics. I know you're going to be in your top shape then. So we want you to be at Olympic Stadium in your alma mater.
I'll tell you what, that's a total pipe dream. I'm telling you right now, that's always been the one thing to me, like, man, if I could continue to throw till 2028 Olympics, it's only, after next year, it's pretty much only one more Olympic cycle. And so it's like, man, if you can just last, because this from being a previous thrower, Martin, it is a very, very tough and tumultuous road being a professional thrower. But it's like, if you can have enough support to allow yourself to go that long, it would be such an amazing thing to be able to go back to LA and perform in Olympics, especially because my mother was an 84 Olympian in LA. So it's like, it would just be so amazing to be like, my mother was an 84 Olympian, and then I can be a 2028 Olympian, both in LA. It's like kind of comes full circle for our family. So it would be really, really amazing. It'd be great to have my family there and everything too. So yeah, that would be, like I said, that would be a dream come true. That has been in the back of my mind since I probably started throwing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you start track. That's our Super Bowl Olympics, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
already went to one Super Bowl Olympics. How
Yeah.
did that feel? How was it to be Olympian? How does it feel?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be Olympian, right?
Because you were also Olympian, right? You're 2012 Olympian.
Yeah, yeah, 2 times, yeah, eight and
Which one did you go to?
Beijing and London. Beijing and London.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you went to Beijing as well. Yeah. So for me, I mean, you know that feeling. Like being a part of the Super Bowl of our sport it was something that truly did not set in with me until like months after I was an Olympian. Like it didn't set in till probably almost the beginning of the winter season this past year, or this year, I should say, in
Yeah.
2022. It was just kind of one of those things where it was like, because I now compete for Italy, and at the time I was an American going into that 2021 season, and I was like, I had been working with the Italian Federation to get it all done, and because of COVID, it took a long time, and I got my citizenship a few months before the Olympics and everything, and it was kind of a crazy time. But when I went, it was a good and a bad thing that it felt like it was almost just another meet. But it's one thing that I feel like I really missed out on was the fact that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at the biggest sporting event that I could be in for my sport. And unfortunately, I had a pretty crazy kind of catastrophic injury that happened right before the Olympics. It was in the weight room, and I dropped a really heavy jerk from overhead onto my knees, and it was just a really unfortunate thing. But when you're at the pinnacle of your sport, you're always kind of walking a fine line with training. You're always kind of like, I always find that's why you see some of the top guys getting injured at like the worst times, because we're so peaked that we're like, oh my gosh, we have to do all these things, and it's like one little slip up like that can have drastic consequences. So for me, I didn't perform as well as I wanted to the Olympics, obviously because of the injury that I had. But the being an Olympian, it's like being a Trojan. Being an Olympian is something that they can never take away from me. And the way I've set my sights already on Paris for the next Olympics and trying to get some redemption there. But to be an Olympian, to have the rings be associated with my life is like, I forgot the statistic exactly what the percentage of the human population that have been to the Olympics is, but it's something so astronomically small. And I remember that's when it really set in for me, was when I saw that early this year, and being like, oh my gosh, it's such a small fraction of people that get to be. I mean, like, there are more people in the MLB, the NFL. Like, I'm talking about like people in the entirety of the world. There are more people that get to be in those things, which are massive around the world, than ever get to be an Olympian. So it's a really, really special thing, and really a part of me that I think, because I find that I am such a multifaceted person, but it's a part of me that I find really makes my life and everything that I've done so far up to this point really special as well, and something I'm incredibly proud of. Like at first, as I mentioned, when I went there and I didn't perform well, it was like, oh man, I can't believe it. I've let this opportunity slip away from me. But it's like, oh my gosh, like no matter how you do, I could have went there and not even performed, and it's like I was still a part of the Olympic Games. Who gets to say that? So yeah, it's a tremendous honor. And I live now with a really good friend of mine, Peyton Otterdahl, who's a U.S. Olympian. And he says the same exact thing. It's like, it almost shocks us sometimes that we get to say that, because I had met him, funny enough, back in like 2017. He was still in college, and so was I. And this was something that we had been talking about for so long, since like 2018. Like, man, the Tokyo Olympics, how cool would that be to go to Tokyo, Japan? And then it was crazy. We got to see each other there, and it's really come full circle. So yeah, it's a tremendous honor, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
No, and you deserve it. You deserve it.
I appreciate that.
Hard. You work so hard for it. And do you now? There's a lot of questions people want to ask. But I don't want to take too much of your time because you are busy. You're an athlete. You want to train.
Listen, you can ask me anything and everything if you want. I'm literally an open book. You could ask me the most absurd questions to the most stringent questions, whatever you'd like.
I think that's why people like it, because they know they can come for you with questions, and you do a great job with your social media. And that's very important to try to promote the sport, right? Try to promote the sport, who gave you so much. You and a couple other guys are doing a great job.
For me, real quickly, I the window that we get as a professional athlete, no matter what endeavor you do, is so short that once this is over, I want people to remember me for who I am and the man that I am, rather than just how far I threw a rock. Right. So for me, when it comes to the younger generation, I'm always trying to fill the well, is what I call it. So I'm always trying to bring everybody up to their best potential. So I always tell everybody, despite the fact that I have a coaching business on the side, if anybody has like questions or tips or anything like that they want to know, I am always one to get back to the next generation, and even the generation we have now, even guys who maybe are trying to be where they're at. And because for me, I find that I relate to those people so well, because I was at a point where I was like, man, I left college being like, I want to do really well, but I don't know. And now I'm at where I'm at. So it's never like it can't be done. And I always love to kind of give back so people can reach their dreams and everything like that too, because that's more important to me always.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you're living it, and you can see that, by the way you act, by the way you act with your teammates, and your competitors too, right?
Yeah,
The fellow throwers. I know
for
Philip
sure.
a lot. You guys joke around. You were in Zagreb. You had a good time
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I had the world record holder feeding me gummy bears at a meet. I mean,
All right.
who could say they got that going?
Yeah, yeah. Fuel me up. Fuel me up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great to see that. It's great to see that. And you wanna continue after the sport. You want to continue in the coaching because you're doing that a little bit now. It's going well. So do you want to, after 10 years of throwing, do you want to continue to do that more, or you can do that while you're still competing? So you're still coaching a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm still doing that. I still have a coaching business and everything like that. And I'm not really sure if that's where I want to go after I'm done with the sport. I have a few different avenues that I'd like to explore and pursue. One of my big goals, which I find that would be so special, is I've always wanted to be an outdoors, or sorry, I'm sorry, summer and a winter Olympian for two different countries. So what I've always wanted to do is I wanted to be an Italian summer Olympian and in the shot put, but I've wanted to pursue being an American either skeleton or bobsled member for the Winter Olympics. Obviously, probably not for 2026, but possibly the next one after that, depending on where I do with my life. But I've always thought, how cool would that be to be a summer and a winter Olympian for two different countries? Like, you're two different Olympics in two different countries. So that might be something that I pursue afterwards as well when it comes to athletic endeavors. But there's a lot of different stuff that I want to. There's a lot of boxes I want to check, and there's a lot of bases I want covered. And so for me, I don't really know if coaching is definitely down my alley, but for when I do the sport, for right now, while I'm in it, absolutely. I love being able to coach, like I said, that next generation and help them reach their goals. And it's been so satisfying to be able to help kids get to the next level. I've had athletes that, now are collegiate throwers now. And it's been so amazing to have kids be like, man, I never would have thought that I could even throw outside of high school, and now I'm at either Division I university or a Division II university, whatever it may be, and reaching their own dreams. It's really, really awesome.
No, and it's especially special when you're doing so good that you can tell people, this is what I'm feeling. This is how you throw 72, 73 feet. This is I'm not 6'8". I can do these things. I think a lot of people can resonate with you. Not that they can resonate with those big guys, tall guys, but there's still a few of them, right?
And there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. My good friend Zane Weir, says that all the time. There's a lot of ways to make a shot put go really far, and it comes from a lot of different body styles, a lot of different throwing styles, and so it's really great. I obviously, as the short guy, I get tons of shorter kids out there trying to throw, and I help them out, which is awesome, because it's so much more of a relating thing. Like, hey, as this type of thrower, I know what you're feeling, or what you should be feeling, or how you should be feeling here, what you should be prioritizing, how you should be periodizing your training and everything like that. And so it's one of those things where it's been really, really cool to be able to do that. But yeah, I definitely think that there's tons of different ways to be able to make the shot put far, or make the shot put go far. It's just a matter of finding it, for sure.
No, good. And I'll leave audience to ask you directly for that, because guys, if you're listening to this, Nick does a great job and responding. And if you need advice, professional advice as well, coaching, I mean, there's only a few people like yourself who are, like I said, still throwing and trying to inspire that next generation.
Yeah, it is. And I understand a lot of the the guys at the very, very top, it's tough for them to be able to give back. But I know even Ryan's doing a really good job with it. And it's now at a point where a lot of us are like, hey, this is bigger than ourselves here. We want to be able to give back to those kids. And I think a lot of kids are really, really happy now that, social media is become so prominent and they're able to actually get advice from guys like me and some of the top guys in the world.
Gold. I mean, this is again, guys listening, girls, this is unique time to be an athlete who is coming up, to listen from, when I was growing up, we had to read in books, and YouTube, there was 3 videos and that was it.
I was gonna say, even for myself, and I grew up a lot. I grew up later than you did, and it was like, even when I was growing up, it was like, man, you better hope you got a YouTube subscription or something, because it's like there's a lot of stuff you're gonna have to try to learn. Outside of that, there wasn't really much to learn. Outside of that, there was really not much social media back then.
But before I let you go, what are some things that you're working on? What's next for you? So how does next 3 to 6 months look for you?
Yeah, so for me, I obviously for as an Italian athlete, the European Championship is a huge deal. And this year we have a indoor European Championship. I forget exactly where. I think it's in
Belgrade. Is it in Belgrade?
I was just saying it's either in Serbia. I think it might actually be in Turkey this year or something like that. Yeah, so it could be there. That's my 6-month goal, is to hopefully try to go and either win or contend for a medal for sure. But right now, this is the start of my 2nd week of training, and today was quite the doozy for sure when it comes to the weight room and everything like that. But right now, just getting really back into the thick of heavy shot puts and tons of volume and everything like that. So for me, it's just a matter of I always tell people I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other, and even if it's just like a toenail in front of the next foot, I'm still trying to get 1 foot forward or one step forward every single day. So for me, just kind of staying the course, doing what I need to do, continually doing the little things. That's always been my forte. Sleeping well, eating well, supplementation, all that stuff is always been something that I've really made very, very important. And I think that's allowed me to make the big things when I need to make them a priority at the forefront. So it's been really good to be able to kind of connect those two. I work with Justin St. Clair now out here in University of Nebraska, and working with my buddy Peyton, and also Berger Lambrechts, who's a South African shot putter now. Or not now, he's from South Africa, but yeah, I got a lot of good training partners out here. And like I said, just being able to make right now the training that I'm doing, making that the importance now that I'm back into the swing of it.
Well, Nick, good luck. You're in a good company. You're working hard.
I appreciate
it. To many, and our athletes as well. It's great to see you do well. Great to see you. I know you want higher goals always, but you did amazing this year. You made the finals of World Championships at the best shot putter time of all time, right?
Yeah, that is by far the best time to or the best shot put performances right now are definitely at this point in the history of the sport. So it's been really, really awesome to be a part of that, and it's crazy time, but I hope this upcoming year is even better, bigger and better for sure.
So that was our interview with Nick. Nick, best of luck. Thank you so much for your time. And guys, check out this interview from a few years ago. And it just shows continuity of Nick's character. Check it out.
What happened to your lip?
I just bit it on my way home. So that's always nice on the day of filming, to just bite your lip.
We met my sophomore year. We met, and so that's 4 years ago. And we met at a track meet, and then we started going to the same private coach, and we've been best enemies ever since.
Yeah, no, that's a good term. I met him for the first time, and he thought I was giving him good advice, but I was really just trying to make.
He was trying to make me throw lesser.
So
he does
whatever to propel myself, So. Just strictly professional. I don't talk to him. I don't want to talk to him.
I haven't said a supportive thing to Nick all year. Yeah. I've really been working hard at it.
Yeah.
Last year I was way too nice.
Way too friendly.
I mean,
friendly. It honestly, it kind of sets me back. When
if I want this guy to succeed, I cannot be nice to him.
Yeah.
That's just how he is.
It's just how it is. Yeah. I fuel from rage. So.
Yes.
Nice.
Nick lifts more and I throw further. It's like it's good give and take.
I mean,
that's just how it
if
works.
that's what you want to think, sure. I mean, I think what I really just do is I just kind of hold myself back to make him feel good.
We lift but in all seriousness, we lift like 3 days a week, and they're pretty tough. Those are the hardest parts of our workout. Nick does bicep curls on days that end in Y.
That's not entirely true. Okay.
And that's he just does arms all day. That's why his arms bust through shirts. I mean, I think I speak for both of us. We really want to make the Olympics. That's like the pinnacle of our sport.
Of course.
Right now, it's just to beat Nick in every competition ever.
When Hammer comes out,
There's
nothing I want to do more than to take down Matt.
I don't even care about how far I throw sometimes. If I yell better than Nick,
That's true.
Then that's the true win for me.
That's
if
true.
I can yell better. Being a Trojan just means living out the Trojan code. It's a prestigious honor, and walking into the track stadium and seeing those pillars is a really special thing to see.
Yeah, it was kind of a longer journey for myself because I transferred, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like what I've actually been given and been blessed with being able to do here every day, and such a great environment with decent teammates is such an honor. You know,
Fight on.
I'm better than Matt.